Okay, how are you, man? So listen, I just woke up. It's not feeling well. I'm sweating, but I have to finish. I took this off, and I'm already started to repolish it. Just going to make sure the hood is as good as it can get before I send it off to you. Now, let's cut to the brass tacks really fast. Okay, I have to reattach the ground wire. Okay, and I'm going to just put that in, and you'll be all set. I'm going to solder it, and I'm going to put a shrink tube over it. Okay, and I'm going to show you the rest of it. Anyway, here we go. Sometimes you'll notice that the hood might have moved, and it doesn't sit exactly in the, well, let me see if I can see this. It might be a little, you can see I've loosened it. This is why this is. But you see how it's like not perfectly centered from the frame to this frame. You see? It's that way now because I already took it off. But I'm just going to show you, so there's a lot of tension on this. Underneath, right here and right here, there are two screws with a button. And so when you tighten it up, it pulls the button down and clamps the back bracket here onto the turntable, which is in two pieces. So you can loosen it and then readjust it and get it right, which I'm going to do for you. But if it moves, that's how you fix it. So if you're going up underneath, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, but you're looking down on it, so it would be clockwise, would actually be loosening the thing. Okay, so you would go clockwise, and then over here, there's another one, there's a screw, and then the whole thing comes up and comes off. Okay? Now, these are the buttons here. As you can see, there's another piece. So it allows you to manipulate the thing a little bit. Okay? And that's basically the first part of that. Now, the first thing, once you're going to start working on the turntable, if you're going to take it apart, do not leave the needle in it. Because if you make a mistake, you can knock the stylus right off, and that's the end of that. You know, it's only glued on there. And as you can see, the lip that holds that slot of the needle in is at an angle like this. You see? So you're not trying to put it in like this, you're trying to put it in like this. So try to make mention of that. Something that I've found over time, well, I shouldn't say over time, I found this to be the case because some of them, they came in, these were broken, they were not used, who knows, could have been inside of a storage unit for the last, 35 years. Underneath here, there are copper contacts, much like these copper pieces, okay? So I found to take a little bit of emery paper, which I will put in the box for you, and just do that, and that will take some of the tarnish off of it. I noticed that one time when I put the needle in, I only had 2 channels. I'm like, wow. 1 channel. I'm like, wow, what happened there? It's crazy. Anyway, it took me a moment to figure it out, but that was the case. It had tarnished, and that was that. Now, I'm going to quickly show you how this comes apart and goes back in. Basically, I'll put it back together first, and then I'll show you how you open it. When you get it, the platter is going to be missing. It's going to be off because you don't want the platter in. I don't want to put the platter in and on the turntable during shipping, because if it comes out while it's shipping, somebody gets careless while shipping it, it's going to end up smashing into the tone arm, and that will be the end of that. So I'm going to have it in a separate box, and I'm going to literally tape these down so they can't move. Now, I'm going to put it back together quickly here so you can see. Actually, no, I'll just quickly give you a viewing here. This copper lip, okay, accepts the lip of that piece. You see? There's a lip on this, and it goes underneath. It's a very interesting design. I replaced the plastic washers that were here because, again, they're made in 1974, and they just would break. So I made new ones out of like a polycarbonate, and it really won't break. They're pretty good, If they're really sticky, which these aren't, you could just loosen it up a little right here. The reason why I mention this is because if you put this in a certain way, Sometimes, I mean, very rarely, I would say 1 out of 20 times maybe that I've taken these off and on, possibly more. The metal of this aluminum plate ends up hitting the spool here, the spindle, and the thing's resting on it. So it makes it very slow, and then it speeds up, and so it's wow and flutter. That's the issue. This motor, I've marked it as rebuilt in March of 2021. I'm going to mark this really fast because I forgot. Ow! Because I forgot to do that, so I'm going to do that real fast. Okay. This is very important. I found this out because I drove myself insane. Always make sure that the motor is returned if you take it out for any reason you want to, whatever. That's exactly in the same orientation. If you spin it around, the bearing has already been worn in this sense, like this way. So if you turn it around, the motor will then, generally, as I find, does not run properly. It's got to be in the same orientation if the motor is removed. Okay, back to it. Here it is. There's a hole here, there's a hole here, there's a hole here. Okay? The big piece goes on first, always. And you kind of can manipulate it around a little bit, and then you'll kind of feel it kind of click in. Okay? And that's there. Now, this is the tricky one. You have to line the other piece up. Again, this little unit here has to go onto this knob, right? This little guy here. And these have to line up in here. It's like using gentle force, if that makes any sense. Okay? So, you can do this from the other side. It's really not difficult. Okay, I went too low. Okay, and now you can see I kind of got it there and there. Now it's in, and then it clicks. This, of course, will be done from the other way. As a matter of fact, you know what, Matt? I'll just turn it around. Forget it. Okay, now, so the frame, the wood has to be pulled out. Don't pull on it really hard. I spent time gluing it back together. As a matter of fact, this looks like maybe I didn't hit it all the way here. I'm going to put a little epoxy back in this just to make sure before it goes. Okay, so again, you got to kind of manipulate the thing around a little bit, maybe even take a look to see where it's at, and then you see that it sits down, and that's it. And then gently you push it back into you know, the wood goes back in. Okay, kind of mess with it a little bit. It's like that, man. This is how they made this, and it's a really interesting design. But what's great is you can really work on these. You know, again, the hood will be on it, so you'll be doing this underneath. Okay, and that's that. I'll give all of this a good polish before I get it off in the mail to you there, and make sure that there's no real pitting or anything. Anything I can get off, I will get off. And you can see the carriage and the arm are all one piece. So when you move this, that's why it's like almost impossible to skip it. Now, let's get back to this. So, this is your tracking force. I'm going to readjust the whole thing again with my scale. I recommend, you know, if you're going to get a scale, okay, don't get a digital scale. Use gravity. Gravity's the best way. You know, it really, this is a Shure, and you just, you know, push down on the thing when it's, actually you can also do this way, and it will drop the needle. And then you go to whatever the weight of, to balance it. So at 0, right, you should have this set all the way at 0 grams. And with the needle in, it should just be floating. And then you take it from there and then adjust it to be, if it's going to be like, you know, 1.3 grams, that's fine. And then you drop the needle, and it should be the same over here. So that's basically that. I'll do all of that. And then, of course, this is the cover that goes over it. It's very simple. If you line up the corner back left, then the rest of it will end up just going right on and be fine. It's pretty simple. Okay? And that's that. Now, let's get back to the covers here, the plates. Okay, so now what we do is we use both hands. Let's say the cover's on, up, the hood is up. You pull both like that from the back right here, okay? And then gently you slide this out. Of course, you remember to take the needle off. Okay, now this is the same thing. Gently, again, you got to kind of manipulate it a little. There might be a little kind of, moving back and forth, try to get it out. Don't use too much force, but use a solid hand to do it. Okay, now that's that part of it. Now, when you get the turntable, okay, I am going to have locked it down so that in transit, it doesn't do this. You don't want this happening. This suspension, you'll put wear and tear on it. Now, can you still? Okay, let me fuck, I'm sorry, man. That was not the greatest thing there. I should. Okay, we'll try that. Anyway, you probably saw most of what I was doing. So, I'll just quickly show you. The turntable platter, okay? And now this is the under platter. And there's your belt. This comes out, I'm gonna put a little bit of grease in here again, okay? But I'm gonna show you quickly on how you know what, I'm gonna continue right like this, just a second. So when I ship it to you, these are gonna be locked down, this whole mechanism. And that is done like this, okay? As you would say, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, not the case. It's left, make sure these little bars are coming through, and you go counterclockwise, and you'll see the bars going down, and then that locks that into place. You see now how I've got only this side moving, and over here, there's one here, excuse me. I really just feel like crap. So, again, counterclockwise is tightening. Okay, no need to crank it to loosen it or put it down, depending on where you are. But you can see the posts here are sticking through this. I've taken these off. I've cleaned them off. Put a little drop of oil on them. I'll even do it again, actually, just to make sure we're all looking good. I'm going to include the oil with it as well. So anyway, so we just go counterclockwise. You see the posts going down, right? And now it's locked. Okay, you see, now the thing doesn't move. That's what you want for shipping. Okay, the rest of it doesn't matter. When you're home, you want it loose and ready to go. I've also included, just so you can see, I'm going to include 2 fuses. I had one blow on me at one point, and it's just a pain in the neck to try to find the right fuse. You think, oh, it's a simple thing to find. No problem. We'll be able to get that. It wasn't. So I bought a whole bunch of them. So if it doesn't work for some reason at some point in the future, I know it's going to work when you get it, I'm going to give you 2 more fuses. Take a look at the fuse. If you have a multimeter, it's always good to test. It's very small. You can definitely see it, but you never know. You might want to use a multimeter just to check it. So that's that. Okay, and this goes right back over the cover, okay, like this, and then you would just screw it down, and hang on, I think I missed it there. Yep, I did. So that's the fuses, right? And there we go, click, there we go. And then we just tighten it up, okay? And then that's the end of that. Now quickly, I'm just going to show you a little bit about oiling the thing. Because you'll hear, and I've heard many times, there's a couple of things that happen with this. We'll turn it on. It's hot in my apartment. Now, do I have any paper towel? Is it? Okay. Now, I will quickly set this up, and I'll show you what I've done here. This synthetic oil just never dries out. I mean, it might turn into like a thicker version of itself over time. It's kind of what it is. Two things. Okay, you can see the thing going across, right? It's recognized that the ribs are not going by. That's why the thing is, it wanted to drop. The reason why it didn't drop is because it's got no needle on it to counterweight to move it along. Here's how it moves. When the needle slides over, it drags it across. Now, here's what I'm going to do really fast. I'm going to show you. I would do this once a year, maybe once every 6 months, but otherwise, start it, okay, and clean off gently. You don't have to kill it, and it will take off the little bit of oil that's there, right? You see the residue there. Try it again. This kind of thing. Okay. And then you give it a clean to get the old oil off, right? And I'm giving you this bottle of this synthetic oil, okay? Just put a drop, okay, right there, and send it across, and then wait for it to travel. And you can see it's kind of spewing itself out there a little bit. And you just put a drop on it. And then run it again. And as the thing runs back and forth over the thread, it'll just spread the lube all back and forth all over it. And then it's ready to go. Here's something else I found. There are 2 screws right here, right? I got turntables where this just seemed loose. It was loose. And this threaded rod was actually at an angle, and it made this crazy screeching sound. It's like, it's like an old broken door or something, in a haunted house. And it had come loose. So if it ever comes loose and it makes this sound, like, wow, that sounds bothering me. Really, it sounds like an old squeaky door. It might be because this has come loose. Just realign it and make sure that your threaded rod is equidistant from the carriage guide here, this chrome guide. Okay, and you can do it easily. There's just 2 screws. That's what's really amazing about this turntable. Even though it's really complicated in its design, it's easy to work on because everything was thought out really well. I'm putting a drop right there, which is where the spindle is attaching to the carriage. So right here, just a drop. I mean, you really don't need it. I mean, that's a lot, And that's basically it. Again, I like to put 1 drop in here. That's your platter bearing. And there you go. So it's the reverse. You will, to loosen, you will go clockwise. And then you'll get the pins will come up through the little holes there. And then you do it on 1, 2, 3. And you're good to go. The platter will then be loose and you'll be ready to roll. I'm going to loosen it back up because I want to make sure that the platter height is perfect, like it's level with the deck. It takes a moment, and that's done through these 3 screws. In the triangle, you can make the platter come up and down, and also with this bolt, this nut. So you loosen the nut, and then you actually thread this up, and it brings the whole platter up. Don't worry about it. I'll get it right for you. And again, right is loosening, right? And you can see now it's starting to become loose. The little wings have come up and through. Okay, and now we're going to do this one. See how it didn't let it come through? It got stuck. The little wings got stuck. So just check it. If it didn't make it on the first one, loosen it again, which is, I should say tighten it, which is clockwise, and you'll see the wings go down, and then there you go, and it comes up, and now the whole carriage is loose again. It's a great design. Now, here's another thing, just quickly. There was a DIN pin cable. So it came out from here and it goes out through the back of the turntable, and then it goes to a DIN pin to go into a Bang & Olufsen. So it's called a Canberg adapter. The one that came with this was missing 2 pins, and they were all bent, and no one's really using that. I don't even think Bang & Olufsen is using them anymore. I mean, if you have a Beomaster 6000 from 1974, well, you could just plug it in, yeah, sure, but you don't. So anyway, I've attached this yellow, it's pretty thick cable, okay? This is an RCA, and again, as I had mentioned to you before, this is a very simple ground wire, and I'm going to solder it for you, okay? It's just straight ahead, man. So just I'll put a piece of shrink wrap over it, and basically with this, you put this onto your grounding post of your receiver or your phono preamp, etc., and then you're done. Okay. Now, if you're going to be working on it, right, like that, unplug it, because I swear, if you drop something on here, you will create a short. And if you burn out something on this board, it not only is incredibly difficult to troubleshoot, try to find where the problem is, you just can't get them. I got one, and it cost me a fortune. I don't know if I'm still recording. Am I still recording? No. Now, this is one board, and I brought it to my local guy. You know, Yelp was like, oh, he's great. You know, this Chinese guy, oh, he fixes everything. It doesn't matter. I brought it to him. Guy charged me $50, had it for a month, and I said, I can't figure it out. He said, and I sent him the schematic and everything. He's like, I can't find where the problem is. I heard the camera turn off. So sorry about that. I'm gonna have to continue where it was I left off. I do believe, because I kind of watched it, it was about this circuit board. I mean, I tested everything on it that I could test with the color coding of the resistors, you know, and the capacitors. Everything checked out. I was about to jump off my, like I said, I will jump off my balcony. I might do that someday. Anyway, back to it. Now, other points quickly. I'm just going to use this because I already put the other oil away. There's little knobs here. You just put a drop on top of the little nub, and the oil will kind of make its way in. Something else you might notice is that when you know what, I'll just do it quickly. Okay, I plugged it back in. That's upside down. Okay, so I'm plugging this back in. Okay, this is the needle. Now, again, gently and holding the tone on. Now, okay, you might notice when temperature differences come in. Right, so it's going to be spring, it's going to be fall, winter, and so on. The temperature will change, you know, how metal reacts. It expands, it contracts. I mean, it really does, and this is made of brass. This damper, which is this unit, this is spinning because it's on. This damper here, I think you can see it. I'll try to give a little more light to it. Might have to zoom in on it. There is a set screw, and if you press the button and the needle doesn't go down, or it goes down really too slow, it's not going to move right now because I've readjusted the stupid thing. You'll turn this screw here, which is a flathead, counterclockwise is loosening. What this does, this lets air in and out of that damper. And if it's all the way down, no air will get in, the needle will not go down because of the vacuum that's inside. You see now, it went down, and that's great. Okay? I'll have it set so that it moves, so you can see it's going down. That's about how fast you want it. But if it, I'll do it. I'll just show you. If I tighten it all the way, right? I give it another tighten. It won't go down. You see, the needle, the vacuum is so strong inside that eventually it will go down. Maybe after 2 hours or something. I can see it's moving now very slowly. But if you watch, and I loosen this screw, you gotta have a small screwdriver, jeweler's screwdriver is fine, but if you loosen it, right, and I would go a quarter of a turn, so from 12 o'clock to 9 o'clock, okay? And then you'll notice that, see how it goes down now, nice and fast? I can loosen it to the point where it'll just go, it'll drop in 1 second, watch. Bam, you see? That's too fast. You want it to kind of go a little bit faster, a little slower, I'm sorry. So again, I'm gonna give it now 1/8 of a turn, being on the clock, you know, from like 9, it would be from like let's do it this way, from 12 o'clock to like 1:30, okay? And then you'll see that's about right there, you see? See, it's a nice kind of slow turn. But you will notice, because I've been working on these, like I said, for about a year, and I've noticed, and playing them, that in the change of the season, the needle won't drop within a reasonable amount of time. You're like, oh, I can't wait to hear the record. You put it on, and then you walk away and no music comes out. You're like, well, what happened? Huh, the needle's not dropping. That's the cause, okay? Again, if you can, when you take it apart, take your little bottle that I'm giving you and put a drop of it in there, just a drop. And then raise it up and put it down a few times, you know, and that will kind of circulate the lubrication around. Again, some points to look at, you know, again, the little posts that are sticking up, I'm going to give them a little shot of lube right now, okay? That's one. I'll put 1 drop under here, underneath this. This I already took apart and cleaned. And then you have the solenoid here, okay? So when you press it, it shoots the solenoid out, okay? Again, a drop is all you need, okay? Both there and on this pin here, be very careful, because boy, if you knock this off, this is a problem. Just be super gentle, just, you know, use you know, kid gloves. Be very gentle with it. Okay, and you can see now, maybe it's dropping a little too fast. You know, it's a matter of taste. The only thing that you don't want to do is you don't want the needle to just bang on the record, because you'll bend the counterlever that's sticking out of the needle. You know, so the needle that hits the record with the diamond is like this. So if it goes down, it'll literally bend it. Okay, I know this because I've repaired a Sony linear tracking, and the thing crashed down onto the record when I was trying to adjust it, and it bent the counterlever to the point I couldn't unbend it. I had to buy a new needle for it. The Sony actually works very well. It definitely does not have the isolation that this does. I mean, you can do this on the turntable, it won't skip, and you won't hear it in the record coming through your stereo. You can do this. The Sony, if you do this, you'll hear it going boom, 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 boom through your speakers. Okay, so now back to it. This is part of the thing that I had missed on the last one. That's about the right speed right there. That's looking pretty good. Okay, so again, we're going to take the needle out. Okay, and it's kind of a downward pull, not out. It's down and over. Okay, okay. Now, again, now that we're going to start working on it again, unplug it. Because if something touches this, current is running through this, and that will be the end of the board. And it's an expensive mistake, you know. So there you go. Now back to where we are. I'm going to reset the platter bearing and make sure that it's sitting level with the platter once I get there. However, here's how you're going to reassemble the turntable with the belt. Okay, black part up. All right. Okay. Actually, I should have move the carriage back into place, but I'll leave it alone. Okay, so it goes in. Okay. The belt, I'm going to give you another belt. You'll have 2. Okay, so one will be your, you know, primary, and that's it. And then when it stretches out or breaks, and that's what it does, it will end up, you have another one. Okay, and that's how you do it. So to put the belt on, if you're fumbling around with it, which I've done, it took me a while to figure out the best way. It's again, to kind of give it a little tension, go around it with your finger holding the belt on, and this almost below the platter, and then once you get to there, it's on, and that's the end of it. It's on, and you're looking good. Okay? All right. Now, let's put the, okay, we're going to put the platter back on. Again, there's a flat side, okay? And then there's the side that has the ribs all kind of sticking up. Okay, so I'll polish this again just to make sure it looks pretty good for you. Vinegar and water I find is the best. Okay. Now, we're going to put this back together. This is really where you're at. Again, the copper lip goes underneath the carriage. All right? And the copper lip marries to the lip on this one, the other plate. Okay? And it goes under it like this. Okay? Now, look at your little dots, 1, 2, 3. Okay? And now we're going to gently slide it in. Make sure the frame here with the wood is all the way out. Kind of feel it. You can feel when it kind of sits down. Okay. And then you take this guy, line it up with the copper lip that you have there. Okay, and then it snaps in like that. Okay, and now you're going to kind of pull this back and kind of move it around a little. It takes a little kind of manipulating to get it into place. And once you get that, okay, you push that, and now it caught. This one caught. I'm going to reattach this with epoxy. Look, I don't know if it's actually coming off or not. Anyway, I'm going to touch it up. So now with that, then you take this one. You might have to kind of jog it a little. Okay, this actually didn't hit it then. Okay, and and there it is. And basically, that's how you reattach it. Okay, the hood will be on it, and I will have already leveled it and centered it on top of the wood frame, and I'll tighten it down so that it really won't move. I'm going to look at the deck once again and see whether or not the platter needs to come up. It really doesn't. It's actually pretty good. Okay, so the other thing with the platter is to have being level with the deck, right? Your record, okay, here, this is a Frisbee that I have here. You can see, when you try to pick it up, be careful, because if you slip, and which I've done, and I have a great jazz record that I did this with, and I was like, my finger went right across. I was like, oh, and I left a mark just like that on the record, and now I have this. Every time the record goes around, you hear the. It's really got me. So pay attention to that. Be very careful. Be very gentle as you pull the record off. Try to get your fingers underneath the sides of the record, because you have your fingernail, you ruined your record. Now, one other thing, really quickly, and I'll kind of show you this. This is something else that I'm going to give you here with the record. Is a record counterweight. Okay, and this is, I'm sorry, I've walked away. So, you have your old favorite records that you love so much, and over time, if you didn't store them in the right orientation, on the side or sitting flat, the records warp. These turntables are excellent at playing warped records. The only thing is, if it's really warped, it can make the needle swing in, and when it swings in, it prompts the turntable to move the carriage over. Okay, so I'm giving you also this aluminum record clamp. Okay, it's 205 grams, and there is a level in it. Actually, it's not too bad. Don't pay attention to it. You also have a speed strobe on this. So if you have an application on your phone, which is called Strobe, you can set it to either 50 hertz or 60 hertz. I'm sorry, 50 hertz for this, which means the light will flash 50 times a minute, and the dots that go around the outside will appear to stay stationary. Okay, and when they're stationary, your turntable is running at the right speed. Here's something else. I'll just show you. It's kind of crinkled. This is a 60 hertz strobe check. You can use the strobe. It's called Strobe for an application. Otherwise, look up record strobe on your App Store or Google Play, and you put this on. Okay, and you start the turntable up. Okay. And you look in here and set your thing at 0, and then turn the strobie on, and it blinks. Okay, I have it in my phone, but I can't use it right now. And then as it goes, the little dots will appear to stop. They will look not like they're moving, you know, left or right, clockwise or counterclockwise. Then you know your speed is correct. Now, with this does not fit under the hood. So if you close the hood, you're going to close it right on this, and you're going to stop, and you're going to wreck the belt and or you'll wreck the motor. So just be careful. Secondly, you shouldn't be using a record clamp on every record anyway. It's 280 grams of extra weight that the belt and motor have to drive. It's not bad to use it every, you know, when you have a work record, use it, yes, but don't do it unnecessarily. It's like if you have a Ford F-150, yes, is it capable of pulling, you know, a boat behind it with, you know, a pallet of bricks inside of the flatbed? Yeah, sure it is. You don't want to do it every day, though. You'll wreck the transmission, you will wreck the motor. When it's needed, pull the boat, move the bricks, blah, blah, blah. Same thing with this. Okay, and then that's that. Back to it. So now we're going to unplug it. And basically, that's it. That's how you reassemble the turntable. That's how you put your platter back in with your belt. That is how you oil the carriage spindle. Okay. Again, whenever you're going to do things like this that don't require it to be on and running, unplug it to do the work, because if you do something like drop it in there, you will end up, you can easily make it short out. And it's just a sad state of affairs, so I really would not like you to go through that. I'm going to try to join these two videos together so that you have one video rather than two pieces. Now, in the meantime, I'm going to quickly go ahead and I'm going to just raise the back of the platter slightly. Okay, you got to hold this here, and of course it's going counterclockwise, and a little bit makes a tremendous difference in the platter. I know the whole back was a little low, so I'm just going to go a quarter of a turn. I hold the little polycarbonate snaps on the bottom, and I go a quarter of a turn. Then we go through all of the process again. All right, we put it all back together. Okay. Again, copper to the right underneath the carriage. Okay, and we put it back in. Okay, okay, and then that's on. And now I put the last one. You can already see it's getting there. Okay, just that quarter of a turn. Okay, and we put it back in. Okay, let's tighten it up. Let's put the clamp, put the okay, hold on a second. Okay, that looks pretty. It's almost there. It's almost perfect. No, hold on a second. I didn't quite. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Okay, just a little, Okay, I'll do it again really fast just to show you. You're not going to need to do this. Actually, I can just stop the video and I'll just go ahead and go forward. But like I had mentioned, again, it's loose. Okay. What was I going to say? So you'll get 2 belts extra, one for the platter, one for the servo. I'm going to give you 2 fuses for that. I'm also going to give you the oil, okay, the record clamp, which is here. Okay, this is in case you have come across a warped record, which is just stops the needle from doing this crazy, movement up and down and around and everything. Okay, and basically at this point, I can already say, I think that looks pretty good. Okay, so we click it. See how I clicked it in there? Okay. Okay. It clicks. Okay, I'm way out of the ballpark here. Something is up. Let's do that again. I think I totally just botched it right from the get-go. Okay, there we go. I'm gonna give this one a little lock so that it doesn't move on me as I'm trying to put this in. Okay, and then anyway, back to it, man. So. Okay, and now I'm going to snap that down. Okay, and this, the wood frame here, you have to push it in. You can see the pin when it goes into the hole, and you clearly just look at it, and it's visible to the eye. Okay? Okay, and then we just push it in, push that in. Okay. And that's actually it right there. I mean, that's just flat. There may be a little, but anyway, you can make yourself insane trying to get it perfect. I mean, to where, you're going to use a micrometer and say, oh, that's not quite level, or it is. That's level. Okay. And basically, man, that's it. I will continue now for the rest of this afternoon to do the counterweight to make sure that it's absolutely 100% set. It should be like 1.3 grams if I'm not mistaken for the 20 CO. So I'll just give it a shot. Let's see. I think it's plugged in. No, it's not. Okay. Anyway, I'm just wasting film here, but luckily it's not film. They put it in the can. Be careful as you do. You want it to be one time. You can see how this is. I want it to be somewhere just about 1.2 grams. 1.3, 1.25, something like that, which is right there. Don't let the needle rest on it. Either go before it or behind it. Anyway, so you'd start it, okay? And now I can put the and I don't think I tightened it up enough there. Now the needle's going down. Okay, so it's just a little under right now. Okay, so anyway, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of the day. I'm going to make sure that this thing is perfect. There you go, man. That's all I've got for you. If you have any questions, you can always call me. I don't care if it's a year. Excuse me. It's just really not feeling. You can always call me up. I'll give you information that I can, anything I can help you with. 917-213-3636. Thank you very much. And it will be shipped maybe later today, but otherwise, realistically, tomorrow. All right. Have a great holiday.